Welcome to Act Out. I'm Eleanor Goldfield, and this is your tipping point. So, you may have heard, the CIA could be listening to your phone conversations, recording your Skype calls, and even spying on you through your television. The latest bombshell from Wikileaks, codenamed Vault 7, revealed the Central Intelligence Agency's secret toolbox of technological exploits. The leak is terrifying, to be sure, but it also gives tech companies valuable new information about how to protect their users, if they're into that sort of thing. And for everyday activists on the front lines, there are some vital and really simple steps that we can take to protect our allies and our plans from surveillance. Now, we still don't actually know who's responsible for the Vault 7 leak, although WikiLeaks released a statement saying that the anonymous source, quote, wishes to initiate a public debate about the security, creation, use, proliferation, and democratic control of cyber weapons. A bit like Snowden had said when he leaked. WikiLeaks describes Vault 7 as the CIA's arsenal of, quote, malware, viruses, trojans, weaponized zero-day exploits, malware remote control systems, and associated documentation, including exploits which target a wide range of US and European company products, including Apple's iPhone, Google's Android, and Microsoft's Windows, and even Samsung TVs, which are turned into covert microphones. Creepy. Even more disturbing than the very existence of these secret spy tools is the fact that the CIA actually lost control of its cyber weapons. The archive appears to have been circulated among former US government hackers and contractors in an unauthorized manner, one of whom has provided WikiLeaks with portions of the archive. They created a monster, and now Frankenspire is on the loose. On the flip side, however, after releasing selected details to the public and the media, WikiLeaks has promised to supply the details of the CIA's exploits to device manufacturers, meaning that Apple and Google and the rest can hopefully begin to patch these holes. That being said, there's no doubt that the surveillance state has upped their spy game. What used to take a team of people to bug your room and then lurk in a creepy van down the street now takes one guy in his cushy office watching you watch your TV. Smartphones and the proliferation of the so-called Internet of Things, or as computer security researchers like to call it, the Internet of Shit, because it is notoriously insecure, have certainly made it easier to spy on all of us. Essentially, we've willingly let the cops and the feds into our living rooms. Amazon even turned over Alexa recordings to police in an Arkansas murder case in early March. So, in light of all this, what can we do? Is there any hope that we can keep our plans private and our comrades and allies safe, at least from local police and less determined state and federal agents? In short, yes. Now, you may have heard that this leak revealed that the encryption in popular messaging services like WhatsApp or Signal was broken. But these early reports were wrong, and popular encryption methods are still as secure as ever. As Open Whisper Systems, makers of one of the most popular encrypted messaging apps, Signal, tweeted on the same day that WikiLeaks released Vault 7. The CIA/WikiLeaks story today is about getting malware onto phones. None of the exploits are in Signal or break Signal protocol encryption. The story isn't about Signal or WhatsApp, but to the extent that it is, we see it as confirmation that what we're doing is working. Ubiquitous end-to-end encryption is pushing intelligence agencies from undetectable mass surveillance to expensive, high-risk, targeted attacks. In other words, encrypt, 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 and take these simple steps to help keep spying eyes at bay. The first thing that you should consider is what security experts call threat modeling, which basically means determining how risky your plans are and therefore how big of a target you have painted on your back. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has a detailed guide to surveillance self-defense at ssd.eff.org, including a great introduction to threat modeling. And I'll just go through the EFF's 5 threat modeling questions to ask. So when you're planning an action or seeking to protect your movement, ask yourself first, what do you want to protect? 2, who do you want to protect it from? 3, how likely is it that you'll need to protect it? 4, how bad are the consequences if you fail? And 5, how much trouble are you willing to go through in order to try to prevent those consequences? Now, the EFF's guide goes into more detail than I can include here, so you should definitely study it yourself. But essentially what threat modeling means is that the more likely someone is to try to shut down your protest, your action, or even your movement as a whole, the more precautions you should take to stay safe. So, for example, a 3-person team that's carrying out a single banner drop on a freeway overpass would need to take fewer precautions than dozens or hundreds of people planning a major shutdown of a highway or a multi-day occupation of a public space. To be extra safe, plan sensitive actions in person with only trusted allies. And if you're worried about someone using your phone to listen in on your meeting, turn it off before you get to the meeting. Or, better yet, leave it at home, because keep in mind that even if your phone is off, it can still be a medium for surveillance. If you've got anything sensitive on your phone, which at this point is pretty much everybody, it is important that you lock your phone and use a long passcode of at least 8 characters. iPhones are automatically encrypted when you password protect them, but Android users, you will need to go into your phone security settings and turn on phone encryption. Do not lose your password though, because you will now need it from now on to turn on your phone. And for all of you iPhone users, it is just not a good idea to use the cute little fingerprint lock feature, even though a federal judge recently ruled that police can't compel you to unlock your phone using a fingerprint reader. The ruling is simply too new, and police have been getting away with forcing people to unlock their phones for too long. So you're still better off with just a passcode. Also, again, just seriously consider leaving your phone at home before a protest or direct action where there's a high risk of arrest. In one recent chilling example, police kept most of the phones of the activists who were arrested at the J20 inauguration protests and are using them to map out networks of activist groups for infiltration and state harassment. So at the very, very least, turn off your phone before you're arrested, or if you can, buy a cheap burner phone to use just for the event that can be destroyed if arrest is imminent. And even when you aren't about to take to the streets, one of the most important steps that anyone can take to make you and your contacts safer from surveillance is to, again, encrypt your communications, which means quit planning shit using Facebook Messenger. Signal, the Snowden-approved app we've mentioned above, is available for free on both iPhone and Android, and it's one of the simplest and most secure options for text messaging, voice, and even video chats. Just download Signal from the App Store and follow the simple on-screen setup after you launch the app. And it takes less than 5 minutes, even if you're not a tech genius at all. So once you're up and running, any text messages, phone calls, and video calls made through the Signal app are encrypted, as long as the recipient is also using Signal. Of course, this obviously means that not only do you have to download Signal, but you need to encourage all of your friends, your lawyer, your activist buddies, and your family to do the same. After all, if it's just a few activists encrypting our communication while the rest just continue to use open messaging, might as well just be broadcasting spy on us to the world. But if all of us, activists and supporters alike, use Signal and other forms of encryption for our everyday messaging, it becomes way harder for the government and the corporations that control the government to target the activists on the ground. And look, even if you're not planning a protest, these tools allow anyone who doesn't want the fucking government spying on them to utilize secure tools to thwart the surveillance state. Because it's not about whether you have something to hide or not. It's about our right to private communication, even if it's just you and your friends talking about dinner plans. So start using Signal and other forms of encryption whenever you can. It is a super easy way that all of us can protect ourselves and the activists on the front lines.